The DTCC just rolled out their plans, and yes, it does involve Ripple. We're going to get into what this could mean for Ripple and XRP holders. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this new information is. I also have a ton of other Ripple and XRP information. There's an August 2025 Bitso Report confirms XRP is commonly used for US-Mexico transfers. We're going to take a look at that report. I'm going to give you all the context you need. There's also some new amendments coming to the XRP ledger that is going to help institutional adoption. I'm going to tell you what that is and what needs to happen for those amendments to take place. So let's start here. Ripple and the DTCC critical infrastructure. Phase 1 of the RMF includes Ava Labs, Cardano, Clearstream, Depository Trust, Clearing Corporations, Everclear, Global Blockchain Business Council, Hedera Foundation, Oliver Wyman, and Ripple. The World Bank as an observer in this. And so you start to be like, what is the RMF Phase 1? The DTCC's contribution to Phase 1 of the Risk Mitigation Framework, RMF, for non-financial risk in blockchain infrastructure marks a landmark step for institutional adoption of public blockchains. Here's the breakdown of its significance. Institutional legitimacy. DTCC is one of the most systemically important financial organizations, processing 2.5 quadrillion in securities annually. Its involvement signals mainstream institutional acceptance of blockchains as core financial infrastructure transcending crypto speculation. Standard setting. The RMF aims to provide a concise, adaptable baseline for integration of blockchain risk controls into existing risk management frameworks. It targets operational legal governance, third-party, and data risks, making blockchain fit for regulated financial institutions. Regulatory bridge. RMF fosters regulatory engagement by facilitating dialogue between public blockchain participants and policy makers. It's built to encourage harmonized global standards for blockchain adoption in finance. And it says removing barriers. It addresses operational uncertainties and regulatory ambiguities, like how institutions manage decentralized governance, asset freezing, and rapid incident response and fallback planning for blockchains, enabling confident and risk-aware usage. So you definitely see Ripple working with the DTCC on several different projects here. This is just one of them. There's also some more information here about Ripple and XRP. Ripple and XRP integration was mentioned as part of the DTCC's blockchain settlement network. In recent patents and industry news, both Ripple and Stellar are now considered structural components of DTCC's settlement and backbone due to their role in cross-chain asset routing and tokenized asset management. You also had some information in those patents about Bitcoin, Ethereum. HBAR was also in there, Flow, BNB, and I think it was it Tezos? Excuse me if I got that wrong, but good to see XRP and Stellar mentioned, as well as HBAR. I own all three of those assets. There's also the patent evidence, the DTCC's patent. Here's the number if you want to look this up yourself, please do. Outlines interoperability across public blockchains, including Ripple's XRP ledger. It details how assets and asset and rights can be moved securely across chains using hierarchical root wallets for institutional custody, retaining central control while benefiting from blockchain efficiency. There's also the trial implementation, infrastructure blueprints, and patents show explicit architecture for routing transactions. For example, sending ABC tokens from Stellar to the XRP ledger using DTCC's bridge graph, and evaluates transaction fees, liquidity, and risk in real time. Ripple XRP's impact from speculation to infrastructure. Ripple XRP inclusion shifts its narrative. It's now seen as an institutional grade settlement layer for trillions in securities, not just another volatile crypto token. This is just a partnership. It's technical hardwiring into the world's biggest financial infrastructure. So, the DTCC is the United States' biggest settlement vehicle for securities. And I mean, this is only going to get bigger and bigger. They are going and moving towards blockchain. It's good to know that Ripple XRP are going to be a part of this. And just so if you wanted to know how much money they move, here's 2020, 2021, 22, and 23. You notice how it gets more and more and more and more. Who knows where we're going to be by the end of 2030. Also, XRP ETF, global head of ETFs at Grayscale, does talk about XRP and a few other assets. Check this out.
Is Grayscale, this question comes from Tim, is Grayscale going to offer an XRP ETF?
So we have filed for a number of single asset tokens in the form of an exchange traded product. So kind of a further extension of our Bitcoin and Ethereum ETPs. We've filed for Solana, we filed for XRP, we filed for Filecoin. We filed for a host of these products. Obviously, they have to go through the regulatory filing process, and we're currently kind of in dialogue with the SEC on this topic. in partnership with our listing exchanges, both NASDAQ and NYSE. And so, we're in that holding period. We're in that waiting period. We feel like the opportunity to kind of launch more single token ETPs is in our future. But obviously there's a regulatory process that we have to abide by.
Man, there is just a big wall of money coming for the crypto market. I don't think people are quite prepared for what's to come, and it's just right place, right time, very exciting stuff. Smoke Dog did put this out, August 2025. Bitso Report confirms XRP is commonly used for Mexico, US-Mexico transfers, and it gave some statistics here. Mexico has historically favored XRP, which represented 15% of crypto purchases in H1 2025 compared to 12% in Brazil, 9% in Colombia, and just 3% in Argentina, likely linked to US-Mexico transfers, which commonly use XRP. I wanted to see if there's any additional information that we could take a look at here. It says, I basically read the same exact information to you, and then it says, this far outpaces XRP's adoption in other major Latin markets, a trend that closely linked to remittance flows between the US and Mexico, which often leverage XRP for cross-border transfers. I can give you a real-life example of this. My wife was sending money back to Brazil to her parents a few years ago, and that was a pretty costly ordeal. Now we just pay a few bucks to transfer whatever because they're using XRP. I made sure we're using the product that is using XRP. I thought that was really cool to do. And I'm sure if you've sent money back home, using crypto can be beneficial. And let me know down in the comments here what you guys are using and if it's a cool technology. Remittances as a driver. Bitso reports highlight that remittances a major part of Mexico's economy, a significant driver XRP adoption. Bitso processes about 3.3 billion in remittances between the US and Mexico using Ripple's technology in prior years. This corridor remains XRP's most important globally for real-world use cases. It does talk about Ripple's institutional remittance network. Ripple's on-demand liquidity ODL system powered by XRP allows for instant, cost-effective cross-border payments, eliminating the need for pre-funded accounts. Banks and money transmitters in Mexico and Brazil are among the adopters, enabling faster and cheaper remittances and B2B payments. Remember, Ripple just bought Rail for $200 million. Rail represents 10% of business-to-business payments. It's only about 3.6 billion right now, but imagine where this is going. We understand that Scott Bessent, the Treasurer of the United States, did say that he believes that the stablecoin market will go into the multi-trillions over the next few years. So that's not demand in 10 years from now. That's demand right now happening as we speak. Banks, financial institutions, financial market infrastructures are all now competing for this infrastructure that we call blockchain. So the interesting part here is there's only so much infrastructure to be gobbled up. Imagine the company that has a majority share of this infrastructure. That is going to be the new financial system, and that's why I'm a firm believer in Ripple and in XRP. Let's talk about Western Union's Ripple's power move. Western Union recently acquired Intermex, gaining millions of remittance customers and access to tested Ripple on-demand liquidity corridors. Validation of Ripple's growing importance in LATAM payments infrastructure. It does mention institutional adoption by 2025. Over 20 financial institutions in the region are reportedly using Ripple's on-demand liquidity in production for high-volume remittances corridors and from Latin America, especially to Mexico and Brazil. There you go. Whoop, whoop. This world utility has reduced remittance fees up to 60%. This is saving people tens of thousands of dollars, right? Depending how much money you send here, right? But even if you're sending $100 or $1,000, whatever it is, saving 60%, that could mean the difference between another week or 2 weeks for meals or medicals or whatever you're sending money for. Usually it's because somebody on the other end needs that money. And if you can give them 60% more money just because the technology that you're using is cheaper, I think that's a benefit and a win for everybody involved in this. It does talk about like portfolio trends and regulatory tailwinds. I don't really want to get into that too much. Broader market impact and future outlook. I'll leave this on the screen here if you want to go through it. You know what I'll do is I'll leave the link for this in the description. I'll share it out. If you're interested, you can go ahead and take a look at that. Vet did post this, important institutional building blocks. Vet is a developer in the XRP space. If you want to follow him, please do so. Important institutional building block about to go live on the XRP ledger. Prerequisite for compliant uses. Credentials has 28 votes yes. Close to it going into activation permission timer, among other fixed amendments. Credentials are a building block for permission domain dexes. They enable the compliant use of the XRP ledger by institution. Without it, the XRP ledger can't attract those native users on chain directly. Remember, you need to get 80%, 2 weeks or more having that 80% threshold, and then that will be enacted on the XRP ledger. Just to give you some additional context on this, if you wanted that information, you came to the right channel. So it says Credentials Amendment, key compliance building block. The Credentials Amendment introduces a secure, lightweight framework to the XRP ledger for issuing, managing, and verifying user credentials directly on chain. This includes XRPO credential create, allow the ledger to record new credentials. Credential accept lets a user formally accept and store a credential. Credential delete removes a credential, obviously. Credential IDs fields modifies transactions, payment, escrow finish, payment channel claim, account delete to include credential-based authorization, ensuring only promptly credentialed actors can execute sensitive operations. This identity and compliance layer enables frictionless KYC and AML verification, allowing regulated institutions to enact confidentiality on the XRP ledger without sacrificing privacy or decentralization. Let's talk about the prerequisite for permission domains and dexes. Permission domains are controlled environments on the XRP ledger where specific compliance rules and credential requirements can be defined, letting entities restrict participation to only approved credential users. The only governance rule presently available is the set of accepted credentials in the future. Wider regulatory constraints could be enforced. Without the Credentials Amendment, permission domains and permission dexes cannot function because the ledger has no way of recognizing, verifying, or enforcing those on-chain credentials. Transactions requiring credential access will fail in its absence. So this could be a big step towards institutional usage on the XRP ledger to move value instantaneously. And if you want to read the rest of this, I'll leave it on the screen there for just a second. David Schwarz also tweeted this out. We've been seeing more and more players in the payments and stablecoin space launch their own blockchains. To me, that's a clear sign the market sees blockchain as core financial infrastructure, something that we've believed in and been building towards in the XRP ledger for 13 years. Launching a blockchain is hard. Building an ecosystem with developers, liquidity, trust, and real-world usage is even harder. The XRPL has real traction and institutional adoption because it's been battle tested, updated, and improved upon for well over a decade. I think maybe this is taking a shot at some remarks that were just said on Fox News by World Liberty Financial, taking a shot at Ripple's technology as well as XRP and RLUSD. They claim to have $2 billion in market cap for their stablecoin, but when you take a look at who's using their stablecoins, they have a goose egg when it comes to any banks or financial institutions that are interested in using. Their majority of their customers are exchanges, and you start to wonder, like, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. If you want to watch that video, please go watch it. I shared some of my input, but you're getting a lot of these kind of no-name people coming out of the woodworks challenging Ripple and XRP, and I think they're just trying to do it for clout. Some blockchains are built with permission validators set controlled by one entity or small group. This can provide control and compliance for specific closed network scenarios, but it limits reach, resilience, and the ability for anyone to contribute to securing and growing the network. Decentralization versus centralization is constantly debated, and there's not a single answer that fits every use case for crypto, and the concepts themselves have changed in definition over the years. As many of you know, the XRPL is public and permissionless at its core without optional permission features for regulated use cases. This opens the foundation. It makes it adaptable, interoperable, and well-positioned to serve as critical infrastructure for the world's financial system, connecting assets, markets, and participants seamlessly across borders. The XRP ledger was built so fees stay low and predictable, but fractions of a cent without a separate gas token. You can pay directly in XRP for any issued asset, avoiding the friction and hidden costs of buying another token just to transact. XRP is the counterparty fee accessible by all and used as a bridge asset in real utility for payments, settlement, and liquidity. Every transaction on the XRPL uses and burns XRP. It's encouraging to see some newer chains adopt design choices that have long been a part of the XRPL's architecture. Deterministic deterministic finality and proof of authority based consensus mechanisms, it shows there's a growing alignment in the industry on the importance of predictable, reliable settlement for financial applications without expensive validation. Looking forward to the next phase, the XRP innovations, bringing more programmability, compliance, and grade capabilities and deeper even liquidity for institutional use. And to those who are just getting started, welcome to the party. The crypto tent is only getting bigger. Interesting. I wanted to just show you a few things here before I end. It does look like 2.57 trillion asset manager Citigroup's adds to look payment services and crypto custody for stablecoins. That's pretty cool. There is in the latest market insights report, Wellington Altus, a top-rated Canadian investment dealer with nearly $40 billion in assets under administration, directly links ISO 20022 to XRP. The report is authorized by James Thorne, Chief Market Strategist. His role is to guide sophisticated investors, institutional money, and high net worth clients on macroeconomic trends and long-term opportunities. This report states that ISO 20022 is replacing the old Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, also known as SWIFT messaging system, and that RippleNet, powered by digital asset XRP, is fully compliant, allowing XRP to act as a bridge currency for fast, low-cost cross-border transactions and payments. Thorne explains that this upgrade enables banks and payment systems worldwide to communicate seamlessly with rich data and instant settlement. This is an important step because retail market participants still overlook the direct relationship between ISO 20022 standard and the XRP token. When professional wealth managers and institutional strategists are documenting these connections, it signals to those allocating serious capital understand the potential utility of XRP within a fully modernized financial messaging system. In this recent document, evidence that confirms and answers long-standing questions about why ISO 20022 is a major value proposition for XRP. And so here was the document that Smoke is quoting. If you're interested to take a look at that, you can Google it on up or use an AI. All right, guys, I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got information and value. If you did, please hit like and please share it with somebody you know. Aloha. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.